Joining us now is Jonathan Reckford, CEO of Habitat for Humanity International, who you just saw sitting next to former President Carter in that interview with our colleague Andrew Mitchell. You know, I want to ask you, he may have been a former president, but Jimmy Carter was out there with everyone else, drilling, nailing, doing construction, even when he'd injured his face and had the bruise that you saw in that interview. Can you talk to us about what it was like working with him, both like physically and just in the volunteer space?
Well, it was one of the great honors of my life to get to spend a week every year with President and Mrs. Carter building somewhere in the world. And he is both a friend and a hero. So it's a sad day, and we certainly send our condolences to the Carter family. But it's also an amazing life to celebrate. And getting to see President Carter up front, you know, he said often that Habitat for Humanity was the best way he knew to put his faith into action in a very tangible and practical way. He was a skilled carpenter and he loved to build, but I think he especially loved the connection with the families and knowing that he was doing something that was going to meaningfully change the trajectory of the families with whom he was building. And he was also a really hard worker. And 2019, I think, set that tone when even after a fall and with a bandage and a black eye, he still came out and built every day. But, you know, it was always an honor to be on the Carter House. But I also warned people that there was a lot of responsibility that came with that because he set a very high bar. And we would joke that it's not a competition as long as the Carter House gets finished first. But he expected everyone to meet his very high standards. And I think he took great joy in the work, which is why they kept coming back year after year after year.
Yeah, no kidding. If that's the work ethic you're trying to emulate, I don't know if any of us can measure up. Can you share a memory that really encapsulates who he was behind the scenes?
Well, there's so many. I think one of my most moving ones was after the tragic earthquake in Haiti. We did something unprecedented, and we actually built 2 years in a row down in Léogâne, which had been the epicenter of the earthquake there. And we actually all camped out together. And what was especially moving the second year is we walked by the 150 homes we'd built the year before as we were building the next 150 homes. And the family with whom we had built the year before had had a baby in the intervening year. And the chance to go back and reconnect with them and see the life they were able to have because they had a home was so moving to President and Mrs. Carter and to me. And I think, you know, it's really not about the house. It's about the foundation it creates for families to have a better life. I think another one, a little like Nashville, that certainly resonated deeply with me was a bad story that turned good. President Carter you know, often worked incredibly hard. And we were in Canada for the 150th anniversary of Canada, building 150 homes across the country. And President Carter was working a little too hard on a very hot day in Winnipeg and bent over, got a little bit dizzy, and out of an abundance of caution, the Secret Service whisked him off. And unfortunately, the press had lined up all the cameras, so this was all caught on tape, and we were about to have a press conference. And President Carter called me slightly grumpily from the car, and I said, "What do you want me to tell the press?" And his answer was, "Tell them I'm fine and get back to work." And of course, he was right back out the next day building. But I thought that summed him up so well, which was, you know, I think with his faith and his chance to be reunited with the love of his life, Rosalind, I think he's fine. And his message to all of us would be get back to work.
It's a very on-brand remark. And speaking of his faith, you know, this was a cause that really helped President Carter, who was a deeply religious man, express that faith. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, for him, he was always very open about it. And, you know, I think his faith was central to who he was, to what drove him to want to serve. And he believed deeply in that we're, you know, here on earth to make lives better for others. And I think for him, that chance to build direct relationships, he would often say the biggest divide in our society is actually not religious or racial or ethnic, it's economic. And then increasingly we are so isolated. And that Habitat gave him a means to be able to cross that divide and build real connection. And he had such an inclusive and expansive view of his faith, but it was deeply part of who he was. And I think it was another connection for why Habitat was such a good fit for him.
And just very briefly here, how do you hope to carry on his legacy for years to come with your organization?
Well, there's no replacing President Carter, but I think, you know, you think about the numbers are pretty staggering. Over 4,400 homes built during those Carter work projects with 108,000 volunteers. And I think the legacy is that there are millions of people around the world who've been inspired by his example, and so that the work continues. And very specifically, we will keep the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Work Project going. And so we'll be in Austin, Texas this fall at the end of October. And we think that's so important to bring attention once again to the desperate need for safe, decent, affordable housing. And we do think the best way to honor President Carter's remarkable legacy is to keep on the work.